This is Gavin. I just want to welcome you to this special spooky episode of Geek Talk. Shortly, Leigh and I will be embarking on our discussion of ghosts and other kind of creepy and spooky things. So, without further ado, enjoy.
I like movies.
You've talked about how you hate zombies.
Yeah, I hate them.
There's actually something in horror that I can't stand.
Ooh, what is it?
One thing, like, I'm actually okay with slashers and stuff like that. I just find them kind of dumb. And like you, jump scares get me a little bit, but I'm finding I'm getting better with it. My problem is body snatching.
Really?
Yes.
You don't like body snatching?
No, it freaks me the heck out.
Huh.
Like, the concept of someone
That's
being
a very specific problem. Like body snatching, like, are you talking like exorcism type body snatching?
Being
or are you talking like
assimilated?
skinwalker type?
Skinwalker.
Ew,
so,
gross.
like, I will never, ever go near watching The Thing.
I've watched
because of that exact reason. I was actually very uncomfortable watching Peacemaker because of that concept. Because they're little bugs, alien bugs that burrow into your brain and take over your body. And I fucking hate it.
I didn't know that you hated that kind of stuff so much.
So
if
I
we
watched
ever went to... So if we ever went to where is that place? Skinwalker Ranch. Would you go with me?
No.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? What do you mean? Skinwalker Ranch?
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
Skinwalker Ranch?
No. But, like, the concept of someone being...
You've never heard of Skinwalker Ranch?
I have not. But, like, the concept of someone being taken over...
I'm going to look it up and I'm going to tell you about it.
Being the person you thought they were, but not being the person you thought they were, is just disturbing.
So are you struggling with Secret Invasion then?
Actually, no. Because they can come back. Like, the person they have taken over is not... It's not like they're a parasite or something. If that makes sense. Because it's a Skrull who has a shape-shifting ability.
Mm-hmm.
And
so it's not actually that they've taken over them. They've just taken over their shape.
It's like being taken and replaced or possessed or something like that where you can get them back. Great.
So does ghost possession weird you out then?
Not usually, because it's not usually as hidden, if that makes sense. Like, it's sure. where I talk to you and I would not know if you are an alien or not. Like, it's hard to describe this, but, like, the Skrulls don't bother me because the people are often taken by the Skrulls and then kept alive.
That's what happens in your Tommy Knocker too.
Yeah.
Fun fact.
But, like, Peacemaker, for example, I apologize if you haven't watched Peacemaker. I'm going to tell you anyways.
I don't care.
Basically, these little alien bugs called butterflies come down to Earth, and they go in your mouth, and they burrow out your brain, and they take over your body. And they gain all your memories and stuff like that, but you're being basically puppeted by an alien bug. So, no matter what happens, you're dead. You don't exist anymore.
Gross. There was a book series
and
that
I hate
was like a teenage romance book series that had a similar concept. It was written by the same person who wrote Twilight. Mm-hmm. It was called The Host.
I've heard of that one. And again,
no. You don't like it?
I'm sure the story is great. I've actually seen something about that. What is it? One of them, like, doesn't work quite right, and she doesn't get deleted or something.
Yeah, that's the whole concept.
And then it's like
this alien creature is like they need a host to survive.
And then
a symbiotic organism type thing. And then she doesn't shut up and doesn't let the organism take over her body. But anyway, it's a teenage rom-com.
but the story is probably really good. But to me, that concept of, like, losing your autonomy over your body and basically being deleted and replaced inside yourself, like Invasion of the Body Snatch. No.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm out. Like I said,
I'm going to tell you about Skinwalker Ranch.
Okay.
I looked it up. Okay, so Skinwalker Ranch, although it is called Skinwalker Ranch, is not actually really about skinwalkers. However,
no. Speaking of which, if you don't know what skinwalkers are, look them up. They're terrifying.
I know what a skinwalker is.
Not you. I'm talking to them.
Oh. I think that's the thing that's weird about me is I don't like horror, I don't like slasher films, but I do like paranormal.
Which
I
is
think it's
mostly
so
horror.
interesting. I know, but I think it's so interesting. It's such a like weird thing that human beings do where they're like, yeah, let's make up all this really scary that's not good and just be like, yep, this is real and like this is my explanation for why there's weird shit happening and they
Well,
love it and I just don't understand. But anyway,
Paranor.
okay. So, before we get into paranormal activities, Skinwalker Ranch is a property in Utah that is reputed to be the site of, this is according to very reputable Wikipedia. It is reputed to be the site of paranormal and UFO related activities. Takes its name from the skinwalker of the Navajo legend concerning vengeful shamans. But anyway, there have been over 100 incidents that include vanishing and mutilated cattle, unidentified flying objects or orbs, large animals with red eyes that were unscathed when struck by bullets, invisible objects emitting destructive magnetic fields, a whole bunch of stuff. Anyway, there's like been hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different people who've gone to this place, and it's been like owned by a bunch of different people, and they can't figure out why this like one site is so messed up. But anyway, there's like all sorts of stuff. Anyway, there's lots of skeptics. I don't know. I don't know. But I think it's cool.
Because you love...
I would go there. I mean,
do. Because it's called Skinwalker Ranch, but it's not actually related
it's not about
to
skinwalkers. It just brought it up in my brain hole because it's a place you can go, right?
Yeah.
So it's not about skinwalkers, but it brought it up when you said it.
If we were in Utah,
you would go with me?
Sure, I'll go with you if I get to see your reaction.
I would be fine. I don't know if I'd be fine. I think I'd be fine unless there was a jump scare. Because I think that's the thing that I'm afraid of, right? I'm okay with spooky. I am interested in paranormal. I think it's really interesting. But I don't like jump scares, which is why I don't like horror movies. Because they just jump scare, and I don't see the point in that.
I suppose. Like, a lot of them now are purely...
Yeah, there's no point in that. But, like, I find it really fascinating, the, like, concepts behind all of these paranormal stories. And, like, you know, the like tension behind paranormal stories that people have and like all these experiences and like skepticisms around it and stuff like that. I love that.
Because like I've asked you before if you would go ghost hunting, like
yes,
true blue ghost hunting with your EMF readers and stuff, and
I'd be very afraid, but I totally would
go ghost hunting, because it seems like very much something you would do.
I would totally.
You won't go ghost hunting in a game, but you'll go ghost hunting in real life.
Because a game is going to jump scare me.
Ah.
Yeah, they are. And it's the same thing with like an escape room. If there's a scary escape room and there's a jump scare, I'm going to hurt someone.
Oh yeah, no, you've hurt people. Me.
I don't mean
to.
I have like a really strong fight or flight. So if I'm cornered, I turn into a kangaroo and I will kick you.
So, I want to tell this story because it's funny to me. We've been to a number of escape rooms before. Leigh and I have. Escape rooms. We haven't been to one in a decent while, but this was back when we like first started doing them, pretty much. And we went to one. This was literally like the second room I'd ever done, which we didn't realize was a horror room, even though we probably should have, because it's literally called the Asylum.
There were some people who probably knew it was a horror room and neglected to tell us.
But we went into this room. There were four of us, Leigh and I, Leigh's husband, and another friend of mine. Both have named Alex, funny enough.
Yeah.
The Alexes. Anyway, we went to this room. Turns out it was a horror room after a little bit. We got through a good chunk of it, and then I think we ran out of time, but they let us keep going. And basically something happened and ended up with Leigh and friend Alex cowered in a corner, like shaking, while me and her husband just went and continued. Well, we had to go and finish everything because these two were out of commission.
I had absolutely no capability of thinking in that moment, like none. There was also one where there was a large bang and I like threw you into a wall.
Yeah. Yeah, you tackled me and your husband into a corner. I'm pretty sure you punched him and like lightly slapped me in the face.
I just have a really strong fight or flight, and when push comes to shove, fight comes to flight, I will fight or flight. I don't mean to. I legitimately cannot think. And like
that is the point.
I was really trying at the end of that escape room to like come out of that and be like, I am still a useful member of this team, and I could not do it. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, you tackled us into a corner. You've also punched me in the face because of your fight or flight. But out of the entire time I spent scaring you when we were younger, just once, did you punch me in the face?
Yeah, I socked you. And I'm jumpy. Like, I'm a jumpy human. If I'm, like, standing in my doorway or something where I walk around a corner and somebody's at work, like, I will jump and, like, startle. And my team and my volunteers will laugh at me because they're like, oh my God, you're so jumpy. I was like, I know, I don't mean to be, but I just have like a really intense fight or flight response. So like I get very like jumpy. I'll scare myself. Like I jump.
Oh, I know you will. Like I get jumpy when I get too focused on something and I forget things are around me. And then someone will like talk to me and I'll just freak out. Nowhere near as bad as you though. Oh, hello. Our mascot is here.
Oh, dude, no. This is not about you.
I need to hug you, Mom.
Please hold while I remove my cat.
Blue has decided to come visit us for today. You know what? I need a clip of you yelling at Blue just as a censor at this point.
Why?
Because I think it'd be funny. Anytime we swear, just going, Blue! Also, just because I think it would be funny. Anyway, yeah, horror is a weird place for us. Mom refuses to go near it. Dad loves it. You and I are in a weird middle ground.
I feel like the kind of horror that I like is like really confusing because I like, I don't know, I like the silliness of ghost hunting shows, like the like stupid. Oh yes, I could see a Scooby Dooby ghost on my thing.
Or or the ones who outright mock it, like like the old BuzzFeed Unsolved shows and stuff like that.
Yeah, I love that stuff. It's so fun. I think it's so fun. And no, it's not real. I know it's not real. I just think it's interesting, and I think it's fun, and I think it's really funny. And like I like the idea of like ghost tours. Like I would have done when we were in Seattle, I would have done the like underground ghost tour.
Yeah.
Totally. I think that would have been super fun. Yeah.
That would have been really cool.
But I don't like jump scares. I think that's what it comes down to. I don't like jump scares. But I do like spooky things. And I like spooky podcasts and I like spooky stories.
Remember when we did that ghost tour at Warwick Castle?
I do remember that.
Adam just smacked his head against the wall.
Adam whacked his head because he's very tall. This is our cousin. He's very, very tall. And Warwick Castle has rather short entryways because
it is a castle
and
in England.
Human beings are not 6'4".
At the time, so, I think the average was like 5'6" or something.
Yeah, they were short, and he like stood up and he cracked his head on the ceiling. It was awful.
But yeah, we went through a ghost
so cool
ghost walk there, and I remember being scared out of my mind because I was a terrified little child at that time.
I mean, to be fair, I was only 16, so you would have been like 13.
Exactly. I was still in my terrified of everything phase.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, no, good times. Yeah, you've always been like super into ghosts and stuff.
I think they're so cool. Okay, I'm gonna have a hot take.
Sure.
Everyone's gonna be like, Leigh, come on.
Leigh's lukewarm take.
100% believe that that's not real.
And you're muted.
No, I'm serious. I don't think that like Ghost Adventures is real. I'm not stupid. However, I do think that there are sometimes things that people can't explain.
Yes.
Because of ghosts.
No. They are not really. So here's the thing.
You don't know that.
I will argue day and night about how aliens have to exist. Like there is no plausible way.
I think that I think
in the
that would be
expanse of the universe there is no additional life. I don't believe that they're little green men.
Pretty you know, like, ooh, we're the best. Like, we
Right.
exist and nobody else does. That seems really stupid.
Like, we've had proof of alien viruses and stuff come down on meteorites and comets and stuff like that. And there is no way in the expanse of the universe we are the only living, in our sense of the word, creature in the universe.
Agreed.
I don't believe they are little green men or anything that look potentially like us, but I do think there's probably some kind of life form out there. Ghosts, no. Just no.
You don't know that. I'm just saying.
I think humans have a naturally overactive imagination as part of our fight or flight defense.
Can you hear that?
No. Is he screaming?
So loud.
Oh, I can't hear
so
it. I don't even think your mic is... Yeah, your mic is not picking it up. Thank God.
Good. It was
that would be
intense.
funny.
Those some guttural screams. Probably because of the ghosts. Just saying.
Not ghosts.
No,
Humans have a natural
I know it's a silly
fear
opinion.
of things.
I just think that maybe this is just because I want to believe that, like, when you die, you don't just cease to exist. Like, to me,
you do.
I just... Like, you don't know that!
You do!
I don't know that. You don't know that. My
do know
point
that.
is, I choose to believe that maybe, not necessarily the like, oh, my grandfather came down from the heavens and built upon me words of wisdom. No, I think that's stupid. However, I do think that there are things that people can't understand, and maybe that there's real explanations for them, and maybe they're not ghosts, but I would like to believe they're ghosts.
Physics. Physics is your explanation.
Okay, tell me this, Mr. Physics.
What?
Stop. It's
Also,
so ridiculous.
like, there are phenomena that we can't explain. Like, what the fuck is deja vu? That sort of stuff.
Exactly.
But that's not
What
ghosts.
is deja vu? Ghosts.
That's not ghosts.
No,
that is the
just
human
joking. I know
mind
that's
being
like...
fucking weird.
Well, and I think that a lot of it is our mind, right?
Proven,
I think a lot of it is our mind.
I'm pretty sure it has been proven that we will hear things that don't exist.
Oh, 100%. I get
That we
night
make
terrors
things up.
sometimes. Like,
Yeah.
I have seen... night terrors may not be the right term. Sleep paralysis is the right term.
Your paralysis demon.
Right. And it's
Fred.
like a very tall, very dark figure that just leans over me and makes me feel very oppressed.
Because it is a shadow.
Like,
You're
I
in
know.
the darkness.
Of a ghost.
No.
No, I know it's not a real thing, but it's very scary, you know? Like, it's
sleep paralysis is very
thing.
much a real thing, but...
I will tell you, though, there are things that have happened in my life that I wouldn't necessarily be like, yes, I've seen a ghost. I think that that's... But there are things, like, there's a mobile that I have down by my fireplace that will just turn.
Yes. Because
There's no air. No, there's no window open.
Vibrations.
There's no airflow.
It's house vibrations.
What
your
vibrations?
Your house shifts
in a circle
because it's a mobile. That is what they are supposed to do. They are on a single
so boring.
And they are supposed to just spin. So as the house shifts, it's going to start swaying, and then it just starts spinning.
You're so boring.
It's so minute that we can't recognize it.
It's not. It's not a
just
spinning
shifting.
mobile. It's not a spinning mobile. It stays still 99.9% of the time, and it will just turn very slowly, and then it will turn the other way very, very slowly, and then it will stop. No.
Yes.
Ghost. I'm telling you. I like to believe that it's the ghost of the man who owned the house before us. I like to call him Walter. I don't know what his name is. But that's what I believe, and that is what it is.
Apparently he's also your paralysis demon.
Maybe. I don't know. He seems like a nice person.
That's actually a really interesting thing. As much as I don't believe in ghosts, I think they don't exist, and I'm like, yeah. Supernatural things I think are just we create as an explanation for stuff that we don't quite understand. I know, like, humans have naturally evolved fear of the darkness is a natural occurrence. Right? We used to be afraid of things that hunted at night. We
still should be afraid of things that hunt at night.
Shut the f*** up.
Such as
true. No, not true. Not that part true. Other part's true. But, like, we've developed a fear of the darkness because deadly things hide in darkness. Predators and stuff. That has just continued onwards. Much like... cats still have the hunting instinct, even though they domesticated themselves how many 1,000 years ago, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
But, and like, obviously we know that we have a natural habit of hearing things that don't exist and stuff like that. And a lot of those weird occurrences, doors moving on their own, things like your mobile moving on their own, can a lot of it be probably chopped down to things like buildings settle and sway and little things like that, dust particles moving in the air and catching stuff and so on. I know you don't believe me. I see your face.
I'm not saying that it's not probably true what you're saying. What I'm saying is that it's a boring explanation and I refuse. But here's the thing. There are people who have done crazy shit saying that it's because paranormal experiences have told them to do these things.
Yeah, because they actually believe that.
For example...
Psychosis.
No.
Yes.
For example, the Winchesters. Have you heard this? Are you
talking about the, like, Sam and Dean or the actual Winchesters?
I am not talking about Supernatural, the made-up TV show. I'm talking about... I don't know.
You used to watch that.
Humans.
The Winchesters who actually made, like, the Winchester rifle.
The Winchester rifle, yes. Not the fake
actual
show
company.
That is fake. Don't, jeez. No,
I don't know. I have to ask.
Sarah Winchester... Listen to the story. Sarah Winchester, who is the, I think she was the wife? No. Yes. So she married, in 1862, she married William Wirt Winchester, which is a terrible name. She had a bunch of kids, and everybody died. Okay?
Yes. I've heard that. Their family just was terrible.
They died. There was
also this was
accidents.
late 1800s. No one lived very long.
This house still exists, man. You can go and tour it, and it's apparently fucking crazy. There are so they built a house. I'm footnotesing.
Yeah, I have the.
They built this house. You're looking at it.
I have the.
So they purchased this house in 1904, and then they started building a house, and then Winchester died in 1922. So when they started building this house, she got really into the occult and paranormal and stuff like that because everybody's died. She's pretty much over it. She probably has a bunch of mental health stuff going on, so don't get me wrong, I get that. But she gets into all of the occult and paranormal and all this other stuff. And apparently, according to this, somebody, medium, whatever, told her that she needed to continue to renovate this house because there was a curse upon it, basically, that would then I'm bad at telling you this story. That the idea I think behind it was that all of the people that the Winchester's rifles, which they invented, had killed in wars, would come back and haunt her. So she literally renovated this house for years and years and years and years. There are doors that lead to nowhere. There are staircases that come out of the wall. There's all of these random things. This is a mansion. It's a big house.
Yeah, but, the Winchester Mystery House, right?
And she did not stop renovating this house until she died. Tell me that that's something that is not fueled by something that person believed was real.
Oh, no, I'm not saying people don't believe that ghosts are real.
Tell me that that's physics, Gavin.
No. Here's the thing. People will believe...
She believed that so strongly that she spent so much money making this house, renovating this house so that it would never stop. And she did it until she died. And this is a real place that you could go to and you could see it, and it's weird.
It's in where is this? San Jose. Mm-hmm. San Jose, California. Interesting. That'd be actually kind of cool to take a look at.
I would go there so hard.
I know. I know you would. That would actually be really cool to see.
Yeah, I love stories like that. I think they're so cool because, sure.
I will also point out.
Okay, here's the other thing. I think we've talked about this on this podcasty thing before. I don't really believe that ghosts are blah,
No.
I think that's. However, I don't always necessarily believe that there's nothing. Oh, what a cute puppy. Cute. Anyway.
Focus.
Sorry, a Dalmatian just walked past my door. You don't see a Dalmatian very often.
No, you don't.
Little poopy Dalmatian. Anyway, my point is, I like stories like this. I think they're really fascinating because I think it's really interesting to see somebody's point of view like that. Like, her entire life was basically around renovating this house. Like, she just renovated it and renovated it and renovated it. And there was like tons of accidents and like people died. And it was like a whole thing. And it was such an interesting story because like, I just can't come to terms with the fact that like somebody living their life could spend their entire existence believing so strongly in something like that when there are completely reasonable explanations as to why that's not a thing and still believe it.
I have an argument, and I'm going to piss a lot of people off with it.
Is it religion?
Yes.
Is your argument religion?
Yes.
But my point, religion is old, though. Like, people are brought
So is the belief in ghosts.
No, I know that, but like, she didn't spend her whole life being like, go to church and learn about, the occult.
But like,
she
someone's
grew into
belief
that.
in something is fundamentally proven that it can drive your actions, and potentially due to the trauma of losing all of her family, like all of her children, her and her husband, and now having this house. And if she was told, hey, you're gonna get haunted, this is also in like early 1900s where people were scared of everything, where actually a lot of this occult stuff was very prevalent during the 1900s, early 1900s,
it was super,
right?
super prevalent.
So
everybody loved it.
Because it was so prevalent, and because she went through all these traumas of like losing her family and losing her husband and stuff like that, it's entirely possible that something that was the easiest explanation, and she latched onto it and stuck with it, right? Was there any recorded proof that she actually was haunted by something? No.
That you know of.
That's always the argument.
You should watch on YouTube. There's a YouTuber who goes by Glam and Gore, and she does SFX makeup, or that was the original concept, was SFX makeup, which I think is super fascinating, by the way. If anybody ever wants to talk to me about SFX makeup, I would love to learn about it. But I just think it's so cool.
Special effects.
But she also
cool.
does she also does like a bunch of like ghost hunting, quote unquote, like series where she goes to like the haunted places in typically America and like will stay the night in the hotel room and stuff.
Because America is incredibly haunted because they're bloody history.
Yes, because of death. But it's really quite fun because you know that meme that I always put up that goes, a ghost.
Yeah, you love that meme.
I love that meme because it's so good. Because there'd be like a bump and she'll go, a ghost. It's great. Anyway, I really enjoy them. I think they're super fun because they're quite skeptical, but there are things that happen on that too that I'm like,
it's all fake.
Shut up. No, it's not. There's one thing
also,
where they're
a lot of
recording.
like sounds.
Shut your mouth hole.
Shut your mouth hole. Listen to the story. Settling of buildings.
Listen. I'm not talking about sounds. I'm talking about other things. You are watching from a camera, and there's another guy who's like camera phone, and his phone is just sitting on the table, and he's like videotaping other things and like trying. I think they're trying to do like like ultraviolet or something like that. But anyway, the phone, I shit you not, you watch it turn on and start recording.
Ghost in the system.
Ghost is correct.
No, ghost in the system, aka bug.
No, you're boring.
Or
it's a ghost.
That is harder to explain, except besides electronics being funky. Because electronics sometimes do weird stuff. I've had tech that has acted up and done weird things. So sure, we'll just go with that part. That one was a ghost. Fine.
My point is that it's a fun little series for skeptical people. I think it's a really fun thing, and like the assumption behind it is that it's not like played up, and they're like, yeah, I didn't find anything because I didn't find anything. But I think you'd enjoy it. It's a good time.
I used to quite enjoy the BuzzFeed Unsolved. What do they record now?
I have no idea.
I don't. They have a new. Those two have a new channel where they post this similar stuff.
I just like that kind of story. I think it's kind of fun and spooky, and like the other things that I enjoy. There's a podcast called "That's Why We Drink." Very good. There's two hosts. One of them does a murder story and one of them does a ghost story.
Oh, cool.
It's very good. I heard some very scary ghost stories, some of which stay with me today.
What the heck do they do now? I don't remember what it is. Anyway, yeah. I'll have to figure it out later. Anyway, but like those super skeptical ones, because they're funny. I used to watch the. Yeah, there's a few out there that are quite entertaining with just how skeptical and how much they yell at the quote unquote ghosts. But yeah, no, we should. I would love to go ghost hunting with you because it would be funny to watch you be jumping at every tiny sound.
I wouldn't jump at every tiny sound.
I sent it to you a while ago.
It's so cool. It's so fun.
I sent it to you
but
a while
I won't
ago.
do like a haunted house because I think
No.
that's the thing is like I won't go to like
jump scares,
like the big haunted house places because the jump scares. I don't like the jump scares. But like I could get behind like ghost hunting because I feel like a lot of what ghost hunting is it's just tension. It's not actually spooky things happening.
It's tension and use with pseudoscience.
Because I don't believe that you're gonna go into an actual like haunted house, quote unquote, and be like, oh my god, there's a ghost there. Oh my god, it's like scraping my neck. Like, no, I don't believe that's gonna happen. I like the like spooky kind of concept behind it.
Here's the other thing about ghosts. If ghosts do exist, which they don't, but if they do,
you just look at my face and you were like, specify.
They don't. If they did exist. And I had to say something about, like, I believe ghosts exist, which I don't. I don't believe that there's a possibility of them being, like, dangerous.
Yeah, like, you say that they're, like, they don't have a connection to this point.
No, like people are, like, the concept of ghosts coming back and actually being able to harm you. Like the concept of...
see why one would.
Like a poltergeist or... Poltergeist would just be funny, but because they like
Poltergeists are not funny. Have you seen the movie Poltergeist?
Not that kind of poltergeist.
Just that is not a funny poltergeist. There's not a Peeves poltergeist.
Peeves, but like the not even like have you watched or do you know the what the heck is it called? What the heck is Candyman or Bloody Mary, like those kind of ghosts.
The Bloody Mary concept scared the shit out of me as a child.
But like Bloody Mary,
I would not do it.
The concept of like a ghost coming out and killing you,
that
is too far fetched for me.
I think that's fair. That's fair. I also don't really understand why.
No,
like the concept behind ghosts, I could kind of get behind. Like I just think that
and
maybe this is just me being like semi-spiritual in some ways. I'm not religious, but I could get behind some spirituality some way somehow. I just feel like it's a little sad otherwise, maybe that's fine.
I could understand, or I could get behind the idea of an essence being left behind.
Hey, a lingering kind of a soul fragment,
something like, not saying I do, but I could if I had to say something with like ghosts maybe existing is in that form of being like a lingering presence, not something that can really do anything.
Walter.
Not even
a
Walter.
Lives in my house. Yeah. Blue will go into the bathroom and sometimes he'll just meow at things in the bathroom.
Yeah, that's because your cat is neurotic.
Or he sees Walter.
He's been
There are
neurotic.
So many fucking stories. You cannot deny this. There are so many stories of
cats also see
pets and
so much more than we do.
Seeing things, saying things, knowing things that there's no way that they would have known or seen or heard. There are weird fucking stories out there and you know it.
Okay, animals can be explained by the fact that they have heightened senses.
Kids.
Just in general. Animals can see and hear things far better than we can. They're likely to see, in most cases, see or hear variations that we can. Kids, on the other hand, are just weird. And this is
you can look up stories
I know these stories
where it's like
I have heard them.
Kids will say things that like there's no way that they would have known, and maybe it's coincidental, but it just feels like there's so many of them that like maybe the kids and like because I feel like adults kind of build a wall around their brain, right? Like they build a like safe zone where they aren't willing to open their mind up.
Literally, that is the problem with trying to teach people anything these days.
Right. But kids don't really have that,
No.
right? So I wonder if that's, if you could argue that
This is
was
why.
what a ghost, quote unquote, was like a
Yeah,
fragment of a soul, that kids might be more susceptible to
for
being
sure.
able to integrate that in to
Being
their,
able to observe it.
consciousness, because they are more open to things that we can't explain.
But
However,
you know what?
there
That just
are
remind.
also really weird stories, and I'm like, that's weird. I can't
Oh
really
no,
explain that.
I've heard of those stories, and one, I know kids often have very active imaginations, and it makes that can be explained that way. Um, but some of them are super super creepy, or they'll
Yeah.
say things,
Well,
and you're like,
that's the
well,
problem.
no, please don't. Which is, yeah, it.
Like,
That part I don't have an answer for.
there are
Besides kids
stories
being incredibly intuitive.
of people who are like, one kid one day, I can't remember what the person's name is, I'd have to find it, but there was a girl who I can't remember how old she was. I want to say she was like 10. I think it was in India. But she woke up, she might have been injured, can't remember, but she woke up and was like convinced that she was a middle-aged woman from a completely different city. She knew this person's name, she knew her address, she knew her family, she knew her all of this information about her. She was like, I am this person, I am this person, this is who I am. And this person existed, but like 10 years before. There's no way that this kid would have
That's
known.
bizarre.
And there are multiple stories like that. People who wake up and can speak different languages and like have a completely different person in their brain. Where does that come from?
Not ghosts.
Fucking ghosts.
I could get behind a little bit of like not telepathy, but like basically meant that sort of thing. And having
Shanti Devi.
ugh. Yeah, it's hard to
Okay.
I can't explain it.
I'm reading it to you. I'm probably going to pronounce this wrong, so I apologize.
Sorry,
But
what did you say the name was?
her name is Shanti Devi. She was born in Delhi, India in the 30s. In the 1930s, she began to claim to remember details of a past life. According to these accounts, when she was about 4 years old, she told her parents that her real home was in Mathura, where her husband lived, which was about 145 kilometers from her home in Delhi. Discouraged by her parents, she ran away from home at age 6, trying to reach Mathura. Back home, she stated in school she was married and had died 10 days after giving birth to a child. Interviewed by her teacher and headmaster, she used words from the Mathura dialect and divulged the name of her merchant husband. The headmaster located a merchant by that name in Mathura who had lost his wife, Ludgi Devi, 9 years earlier, 10 days after giving birth to a son. He traveled to Delhi pretending to be his own brother, but Shanti Devi immediately recognized him and her son, as she knew several details of his life with his wife, and he was convinced that she was actually a reincarnation of his wife. That's a story that happened in the world.
Okay, reincarnation I can get behind.
It's f***ing ghosts.
Not ghosts.
But honestly, if you think about it, if you're going to argue that there is a possibility that a fragment of somebody's soul or essence or being flutters around when you die, who's to say that reincarnation is not plausible?
Oh, for sure.
We're getting real deep into this. But like, if that's the case, a child who we just discussed might have more capability to see that kind of stuff. Maybe they're more susceptible to picking up those pieces of people that have floated away.
That don't exist.
Ghosts.
Sure. We'll go with ghosts because
win this argument. Ghosts are real.
That one is like that concept of.
I hope you enjoy living your boring life boringly and having no interest in fun things like ghosts.
a lot of what people claim to be ghosts can be explained by variations in atmosphere, right? Like things like a building settling or
really gonna die on this building settling hill, aren't you?
I am, because I've seen it. Because there's there is a building at the university. It's called the University of Alberta, which is called the National Institute of Nanotechnology, MINT. Mm-hmm. It's in the engineering quadrant. that literally has what's called a floating foundation, because there is even minor vibrations from the Earth are enough to set off the sensitive equipment inside, because it's dealing with nanotechnology, right? The fact that it has to be built like that basically tells you that most buildings are shifting at all times. Little bits, not enough for us to notice because we are oblivious to most things, to most changes in our environment. But it is enough to cause adjustments, little things. That's why a lot of like creaks and stuff like that from your house come from, or why suddenly your door starts
drifting. I don't think
closed.
that the creaks in my house are a ghost. I'm not an idiot.
But like that's why things like your door starts drifting closed, or like a mobile starts shifting, is probably little things like that. And then like those cameras where they pan over and there's weird shapes and disturbances in the camera. It's just
like dust and stuff.
Yeah, it's dust particles. It's your camera not being able to pick up enough light, and it's the granular footage is just warping how you reality see. That
I
stuff
don't
can be
believe
explained.
the like things where they're like, it's a ghost, and they like point it out as it goes across the screen, and it's just like a little dust fragment that like floats across.
Ghost orbs are cool. Ghost orbs are actually kind of interesting thing because they're little like light things that appear. I don't actually know what the explanation for that is, but they're basically
they're fascinating, you know?
They're
like
light being captured.
I don't think that all of this stuff is real. I don't think that when you use the like I don't know what it's called, but you know that thing where it like cycles through AM and FM radio stations and it like picks up words. Ghost box? Is that what it's called? I don't know. But anyway, I don't think they're necessarily real, but I just find it interesting.
That's cool. That's all. Radio waves are interesting, but like that stuff has typically a way to explain it because it's all pseudoscience, right?
Yeah, and I think that when people are talking about how they can hear like ghosts talking, I think a lot of it is just them picking out what they want to hear, because you know that there's that concept behind like if you can see something written down, you're more likely to hear that word. That's all it is.
Well, like
if they're like, oh yeah, I hear go away, like, and then they write go away, you're gonna hear go away, you know?
Yeah. Well, think about when we were young. You remember the Barbie Girl song by Aqua? Mm-hmm. We were convinced it was Cheerio Girl.
No, it's not. That's not Barbie Girl. That's Madonna.
That was Madonna.
Yeah, Material Girl by Madonna.
It. But like,
yeah, but you're right. You're right. We heard Cheerio, and forever it would be Cheerio.
It was Cheerio, and when you listen back to it, it is still Cheerio. And there are things where it's an audio segment, and it's like, listen to this or read this word, and as you read it, you hear it, and you switch that word. Yeah, like you were saying, but you can change it based on different words, and what you hear is different. Mm-hmm.
That's true.
The reincarnation part. The reincarnation part is very hard to explain.
Right? It's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting. And like, I mean, I'm kind of joking a little bit, right? Like, I just think that there's something. I don't think that there's like a floating ghost man in my house. I'm not stupid.
Oh no, Walter is there. Walter is angry.
No, Walter, he's not. He's a nice guy.
Walter is going to be the next villain of our Call of Cthulhu campaign.
You know what? To be quite honest with you,
Walter's going to haunt you.
When I think about like, oh yeah, there's a ghost in my house, blah, you know, I don't feel like he is mean. I feel like he's very nice.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like, if ghosts did exist, I highly doubt they would be violent.
No, I think that he's just living here. I don't know what happened. Like, it was he and his wife built this place, you know, and then when she left, it was just her. So, like, he passed away at some point, obviously. I don't know if it was here or in the, you know, in a hospital or whatever. Doesn't matter. But my point is that, like, clearly this house meant a lot to them. And honestly, if it was me and I was going to be a fragment of a soul somewhere, I would latch onto the places that meant something to me. I would.
I don't want to go down another rabbit hole here, but this is also assuming that souls exist.
Yes. I choose to believe that that's the case. I do.
I'm not going down this rabbit hole.
I don't think that we can talk about this right now because we've been talking for 2 hours. But I do think that I choose to believe that. And I think that that's the thing, right? Is like when it comes to this sort of stuff, horror, not horror, ghost stories, not ghost stories, paranormal stuff, aliens, all that kind of stuff. It's about what you choose to believe. Because if you choose to believe it, then you're more likely to be interested in learning more about it, right? And like, I choose to believe that a soul exists. I'm not religious, but I choose to believe that a soul exists, and I choose to believe that there is something that happens to your soul or who you are as a person, the essence of who you are as a human being, the reason that you exist, that happens after you die. And maybe that's not true, but quite frankly, I'll be dead, so I won't care.
I mean, sure. What I do find very interesting, like,
but I would find it very fun to come back as a ghost. I'm just saying.
What I do find very interesting about like the whole concept of ghosts existing or supernatural stuff is the consistency. Pretty much all cultures across the world and throughout history have had some form of supernatural entities. Vampires,
and they all have very similar backgrounds and very similar concepts behind them. They might be like a little bit different, but like
like the concept of the vampire is primarily like Romanian, yeah? Where is it? Transylvania?
Eastern
European.
I think that Transylvania is like where the like Dracula character came from. But yeah, I think it's like Eastern European.
Yeah, it's like Romania. Well, because it was Dracula himself. The character of Dracula is based on Vlad the Impaler, is he not?
Right. Yeah.
But like the concept of an undead being a man or person being brought back to life who is here to suck your blood is a primarily
to Dracula.
I'm not scared of the Draculas.
So rude.
But it's like it is primarily Eastern European. There are variations of that across things, and you could almost argue that something like a Wendigo, which is a Native American or indigenous creature that is created from a human from a spirit and like a human cannibal type thing, I think.
Yeah.
I could be very wrong, and I apologize if I am. But like,
I'm sure that there's some concepts that are like similar.
But like, they're
right?
very,
like,
very similar, just on a slightly different direction of that same. It's like that same branches of the same different branches of the same tree.
Yeah, well, and I think that that's an interesting concept too, because those two places where those come from are very, very far apart. And this is at a time when oral tradition was really common.
Yes.
There was no internet for them to just be like, oh, let's share information. Like these were concepts that existed within each culture individually that had nothing to do with each other.
Yeah. Or
like, I'm sure some of it is shared as time goes on, obviously, but like, you know, I think that, and I do think that there's probably some things that have like adjusted as people have.
Of course, together like a lot of things
from
have
each other. They're like, oh, I have a creature like that in my culture too. It's similar, and then they kind of merge together to make this like ultimate representation of what that creature is. But I do think that there's some interesting connections.
Well, like heck, even look at the concept of. I know it's not horror, but look at the concept of a dragon.
Yeah.
Even across like many European cultures, all the way into to Asia and stuff like that, concepts of giant fire-breathing lizards did exist in various forms, but they're all kind of stem from that same. They have the same building blocks, which is very interesting because a lot of them come from these ancient cultures that never had contact with these other places, or maybe they probably just all came from the same story at one point, like quite honestly. Or we had giant lizards after the fact.
We did have giant lizards
after the fact. Dinosaurs did not exist at the same time as humans.
But like real.
Something like a Komodo dragon, for example.
Yes, which is a big fucking lizard.
It's a giant fucking lizard that.
But here's the thing, though.
It does not breathe fire, but it does bite poison.
Sure. But is it unreasonable to expect that somebody back in the day came across a dinosaur skeleton and was like, what the fuck is that?
Well,
and then was like...
The first things that they probably assumed was, here be dragons.
Yeah, exactly. So then they took this story of like large, dangerous beasts that may or may not have been lizard-shaped, or may or may not have had like dragon-like characteristics, because ultimately a dragon is just a flying dinosaur,
basically,
and then they've kind of manipulated that into what we would consider to be a dragon based on what they found, right? But like Asian cultures have different types of dragons that look very different and have very different concepts
Very
behind them,
different.
but
They're
they're
more
also,
snaky.
yeah, they're more snaky. But they're still reptilian in some ways, but they're
But they're
different,
like,
very,
yeah,
very different. And
long
then,
dragons. They're super cool.
yeah, it's really interesting. I just find it really fascinating that like the sort of concept behind paranormal stuff in its entirety is so multi-dimensional and multicultural. I think it's really cool. I think it's really cool. And I choose to think it's fun.
And like, we've taken that, and like, obviously, paranormal stuff has taken itself into its own creation of like a subculture of in our terms, nerddom and geekdom, because
Yeah.
like of course
But
it
you know
has.
what? To be honest with you, I don't know if you've ever heard this. You can look this up and it's like scary. But like the real story that I think it's The Exorcism was based off of, you can find sound clips from that exorcism.
Wasn't it like when was it? When did that happen?
A long time ago.
How do you have sound clips?
It wasn't. It was like I think it was like the 50s. Like it wasn't like an abysmally long time ago. Like I think it was like fairly scientifically recent. But like
recent enough that their sound clips exist.
The sound clips are frightening. They're frightening. They're so scary. I would really encourage you to look them up because they're really interesting. I'm gonna look it up. But
I
it's
will
like
not be doing that.
horrifying. And these are like hypothetically real sound clips.
But yeah, it's just, but it really has come into its own as kind of a subgenre of nerddom because people love horror, absolutely adore it, and especially the supernatural side of things. Like a lot of haunted houses are based around supernatural stuff, like ghosts and zombies and vampires and witches, and like that's the other thing. The concept of the witch across
I'm
cultures.
totally lying to you. It's not The Exorcist. It's not The Exorcist.
No,
it's The Exorcism of Emily Rose.
Yeah.
That's the movie that I'm talking about.
Okay.
But it's based on the story of Annalise Michel.
Also, that's the other horror thing that I will never touch. I just realized it. Possessed dolls. Nope. I'm out.
Yeah, hard line. Not interested.
Nope. Even if that possessed doll is surprisingly not transphobic.
Okay, so Annalise Michel, or Anna Elizabeth Michel, who is the human being who underwent 67 Catholic exorcism rites during the year before her death. She died of malnutrition, and her parents and her priest were convicted of negligent homicide. She was diagnosed with epileptic psychosis and had a history of psychiatric treatment that proved ineffective. So keep in mind that story has a lot of like mental health and undiagnosed mental health and like stuff that people should have dealt with. So don't get me wrong, I recognize that it's not demons inside her. However, what I'm saying is that the sound clips from this are fucking terrifying.
We are not playing
one. 1975 was what year it was.
Okay, so it's actually reasonable to actually have sound clips. I might look it up later. I would if people are listening to this and want to look it up, go for it. I will not be.
I'm pretty sure that it was this one. I have definitely heard sound clips from a like real life exorcism that a movie was made out of. I just can't remember if it was that one, but it was like horrifying. Like if you just heard it, there's no way in hell that you'd be like, yeah, that's a 17-year-old, 25-year-old girl.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
It was horrifying.
Yeah, nope, I'm done. Nope, never.
Too spooky.
Too spooky. Which is why there's certain things like with because supernatural horror is kind of come into its own thing with like look at Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah, that's true. Call of Cthulhu.
Like coming from, admittedly, it was written by the original concept of like the Cthulhu mythos is what it's become. Was written by H.P. Lovecraft, who was a complete terrible person.
It was also
like 1920.
Yeah, everybody kind of sucked then. Not saying that what he did was okay. No. I'm just saying that like everybody was kind of shitty.
The times
at that time.
Makes
he would
sense.
not hold up well at this time of the
He's a terrible
generation.
person.
He wouldn't do well.
However, the Cthulhu mythos has become very beloved, and it spawned a lot of stuff such as the Call of Cthulhu games. And a good portion of that is supernatural horror. Like, we've been playing Call of Cthulhu recently. I am going to stumble over that name so much.
You can't even shorten it.
No. Like D&D you could do. Call of Cthulhu, no.
No.
Don't do that. Don't say it.
I'm not going to say it, but y'all can think it.
Jesus.
I'm not wrong though, right? Like you have to say the whole name.
You have to. Or just Cthulhu, but you're still going to stumble over it.
Yeah, you could say Cthulhu, but
you're still going to just stumble over the name because it's impossible to say. But like it's
trouble saying Cthulhu.
Cthulhu? I don't know. It's because I have a habit of slurring words just in general.
I think you're skipping the C. You're just going Cthulhu.
Cthulhu. I don't know why I do it. Cthulhu.
With a K sound.
I skipped the U. Cthulhu. Whereas
There's
you go
no
Cthulhu.
U there. You're skipping the C. You're just calling
I don't know
Cthulhu.
what I'm doing. It's weird. Anyway, great game, and they've worked, and like Chaosium, who's the company who creates the Call of Cthulhu RPG, great game, have done really well at adapting a lot of this stuff, and it involves like their monster manuals and stuff like that. While it is still based around the Cthulhu mythos and like the occult and stuff like that, it brings in a lot of that supernatural elements. Like we just played a game. Now we finished 3-4 months ago, where it was I just had them hunting werewolves.
I love werewolves. That's the other
because werewolves are amazing.
That I like.
I love werewolves. I love the concept of a werewolf. They're super cool. I used to be terrified of them too.
Really?
Well, the concept of being like cursed forever. Now I love them. They're super cool. But like,
I would be totally down to be a big ass dog.
And then like the concept of like we brought in the werewolves, and like I'd love to do something with like the concept of like Baba Yaga or the like the witch of the forest kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or like the concept of a actual nightmare coming into creation.
Like a horse.
Like a nightmare.
Yeah.
Funny enough, a nightmare is actually a creature in D&D.
Yeah, it's also a creature in a book I have called The Nightmare.
Yeah.
And it's a horse, and the horse's job in its life is to bring people bad dreams.
Yeah. That's cool. Might have to steal that.
It's a Xanth novel.
Of course it is. Of course it's friggin' Xanth.
It's very literal.
That's why we've been enjoying Call of Cthulhu, is because like it is very much that supernatural element that you can you can take the game and warp it however you want to go that supernatural element, or you could go more like a cult Cthulhu mythos or whatever the heck you really want it to, just because it's kind of cool. And that's I think also why like things like Scooby-Doo are so beloved, because it takes the supernatural concept of like hunting ghosts and goes, ha! Not
surprise,
a ghost.
it's just a person.
But like it takes it and it makes them spooky, but still fun.
Yeah. I think though that Scooby-Doo just taught us as children that the things that we need to be scared of are not ghosts, they're people.
Well,
which is not wrong.
You should watch one of the newer seasons, which is called Mystery Incorporated. It's on Netflix.
It's a cartoon, right?
Yes. And like, obviously, these are kids' shows. But they're amazing. We love them. We will forever.
Hey, we literally had a 7-minute rant about how great Tarzan was.
Yeah, exactly.
Earlier.
But like, Mystery Incorporated, the show, is actually really good. I found it really interesting as like a Scooby-Doo show, because it does have elements of like true supernaturalness to it. Which I found really interesting, because they brought in that concept of like,
have to watch
hey,
that.
Ghosts might be real here, but everything they're facing are fake. Ha! So, no, cool
I
stuff.
love that. I love that idea in like movies and TV shows and stuff like that, where they're like, yeah, I think that's why I like Gerald's game so much, because the idea is that like nothing that she's seeing is real. She's dehydrated, she's hungry, she's like losing her mind, right? Which is a real thing that can happen. You can start to hallucinate.
Yep. Well, that's
And
what like mirages are.
yeah, exactly. Like, and one of the
Dehydration.
things that she hallucinates is this like man with a bag, and this bag is full of like finger bones and
Is that the
jewelry.
Moonlight Man?
It might be. I don't remember what he was called. But anyway, the concept I think was that he was like, I'm coming for you. Like, you're gonna die, and I'm gonna take all your bones and your jewelry and shit like that. Anyway, whatever. My point is that
All
like
right.
you can get behind the idea that you're like, oh, that's fake, right? It's the thing that's in her head because she's losing her mind. But then at the end of the book, there's like one line where the guy goes into the house and he picks up a pearl earring off of the floor. Did that
Nope.
just give you chills?
Yeah, no, I'm not thinking about that anymore.
So creepy, right? I love that. I love that concept where you like get out unscathed and you're like, it was not real. Everything is fine. It's all good. That's not what the world is like. And then there's like that one little tidbit that's like, shit, maybe
No,
it isn't.
no, never, no, not doing
It
that.
was so good. It's so good. I love that kind of stuff.
Ugh, nope,
Cool.
never doing that. But like, with think about the, yeah, horror is supernatural horror is so beloved. Like, look at the Grimm fairy tales.
Yeah, that's true. They were fucked up, man.
They were fucked
I
up.
took a class in university
They were
on fairy tales
super
and
fucked up.
folklore. They are not nice.
No, they've been turned into nice things. They were not nice.
And
Like a
even
good
the
number
things
of
they've
like
been turned into aren't that nice.
no, and like even like a good chunk of Disney's movies were originally like fairy tales from similar in concept to the Grimm fairy tales, and they've
Yeah.
just been turned into nice things. Like what is it? Frozen is based off the Ice Witch or the Ice
Ice
Queen or
Queen,
something,
yeah.
and she is literally a psychopath.
Which I think is a Hans Christian Andersen story.
Yes, or something. Like
He also wrote The Little Mermaid.
which is also
and
super twisted. Doesn't she kill him?
Yeah, she kills him, his new wife, and then she kills herself.
There we go.
And then she becomes a cloud.
These kid stories back in the day, man. No,
She gets really jealous because she can't talk. So the guy's like, fine, I'm going to marry someone else. And yeah, she murders him, and then she kills herself.
good.
And like Cinderella, they
Don't they chop off
the
pieces of their
stepsisters-
feet?
Yeah, they do. They cut off pieces of their feet to fit in the shoe. And then the ravens eat out their eyes.
Yeah, not nice stories.
Yeah.
Not good times.
And I mean, there's always a lesson, right? Like, I think, I can't really remember, but I think that
Usually.
the generalized concept behind Cinderella was that vanity is not, like, you know, they had to cut pieces of their body off to make, like, the size
They
of
were
the
trying
shoe.
to
It's like they're being
fit
they're being
unrealistic
very-
standards.
You know, yeah, exactly. Like, I think that the concept is that, like, you shouldn't be vain and you should be humble and blah, 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 blah. But it's just, they're so aggressive. So aggressive.
Yeah, they are.
And they're weird and young. And, like, that's the other thing, too. Is, like, Snow White, the original story of Snow White, she's, like, 10. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
And a queen wants to kill her, a
10-year-old.
10-year-old.
Yeah. Yeah, she's, like, 10 years old.
What is wrong with stories? Then again, think when these were written.
I know. Well, that's the problem, right? Is, like, they were written in a different
At a time when
than what
10-year-old
we have
girls would be
now.
married off to adult
Ew,
men.
no, I don't think they would. I don't think they got married at 10.
12.
That's really young. You can't even have babies at 10.
No,
What
it
would
would
be the
probably.
point
I
of
think it was
marrying
closer
you
to
off
like
at 10?
12 or 13. Basically, as soon
Yeah.
as they hit puberty.
Puberty. Yeah. Which is still wrong.
No, they'd get
Don't get me wrong,
betrothed
but,
at
like,
10. They get betrothed
Maybe. I mean,
that early.
some people were betrothed at birth.
Yes. And we're not getting to that. It's super weird.
We need a whole other episode just on, like, Grimm fairy tales. Now,
I'm gonna note something. I can see the recording time. It's been 2 hours. I am splitting this into multiple parts.
Yeah, that's fair.
And because we're putting it on YouTube, I'll probably split it into like half-hour parts.
It's fine.
So,
So should we record, like, a...
I'll
Hey,
put a thing in there.
welcome
what?
back. Part 3.
I mean, if you want to put something at the very end, I can cut it out and just add it in his post.
I don't know. I mean, we could. I don't know. I think I would keep talking to you, honestly, but it's 8:30 and I haven't eaten yet. So
yeah, neither
I think
we
should probably cut it.
Okay.
But this was fun.
we can talk again another time. So
yeah. So should we conclude?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I hope you've enjoyed our rants for today.
We needed to cut this down a little bit. So we're gonna call it there. Because we're gonna go on another rampage about Grimm's Fairy Tales if we keep going. So we're gonna call it. And yeah, we've enjoyed talking to you guys for 2 hours. It's been fun.
Yeah, and I'll probably end up splitting this into multiple parts for upload reasons because it's gonna be a pain.
Yeah, nobody wants to look at our boring faces for 2 hours.
No, not at all.
Well, no, no.
not
the answer is just no. There's no
Still
well.
No.
It's just no. I don't even want to look at our boring faces for 2 hours.
I have been staring at my boring face for 2 hours, and it is.
That's why I don't watch any of my news interviews because I'm like, no, I don't want to see that.
Which is funny because when I talk to a camera, I have to stare at like the little picture of me because I'm like, otherwise I will stare off into space. Like I keep doing I have you over here on my monitor, and then I have OBS open in here underneath the camera, and I keep looking over here because I'm like, oh, there's Leigh. Hello.
Hey.
So
I just have one computer because I am a simpleton, apparently.
I have had this I've had this monitor for like 7 years.
That's true.
And I love it. Also, this computer is 9 years old, I'm pretty sure, at this point.
Nice.
It's old.
All right, we're going to keep talking. So we're going to call it goodbye. We will probably do this again because we enjoy it and we like talking to each other. We will see you next time, maybe.
Hope you enjoyed. If anyone does listen, I'm going to put this question out there. If anyone does listen, what are you scared of? And if you have anything you want us to talk about, let us know.
I think you said this will be on Spotify, right?
Yes. So we're gonna put this up on Spotify if you want to listen to the audio version, and on YouTube if you want to listen
to the audio version.
If you want to stare at our faces and make Leigh super uncomfortable.
I feel like I've had like a light glare in my eyes this whole time because I have a window right across from me here. So
I mean,
you're like light glare on my face.
Actually, it's a little bit, like right in the center of your glasses.
Yeah, because that's where the window is, and I refuse to cover this window.
Oh yeah, no, that makes sense.
All right, goodbye. Have a lovely evening.
We will
talk to you all next time.
Bye bye.